I've said this before on the channel, over-prepping, and by extension overthinking, doesn't make the game any easier to run. Hearing that doesn't magically make anxiety go away, I know that firsthand. After all, overthinking is kind of a safe place, a comfortable place. At least if we're making plans for what could go wrong, maybe we won't get caught off guard. The purpose of overthinking and of superfluous game prep is to reduce fear. I recently had an amazing conversation with Dr. Megan Connell. For those of you who don't know, she's a board-certified psychologist. She's a founding member of the Actual Play D&D stream Clinical Role, which is composed of all counselors, therapists, psychologists, and she's an unrelenting force for good. All her links will be in the description. When I asked her how she preps for her games, here's what she said.
I struggle with anxiety, and so very early on in my gaming prep, I was an over-prepper. I would have pages and pages of notes and maps and like everything just ready to go at the drop of a hat. And like all my prep didn't lead to better games. And so I've started really trying to minimize my prep now. And so I do a lot of work on creating the story that we're going to follow. And then I go through and think about for my players, what are the things that they most need in that game? And what are the opportunities that I can present to them to help them reach their the therapeutic goals I have in the therapy games I run? And then even for the fun games, like I try to ask all my players, like, what's a goal that you have for your character? And so thinking through that beat of the story is like, is there a way for me to help give that player an opportunity for their character to reach that goal and to do that thing? Like, in a therapeutic game I was running, one of the players really recognized that they tended to take control too much of situations and tended to always try and lead, which is a strength, but to the detriment of other people felt like they didn't have a voice. And so they were really trying to find a way to let their character step back so that they wouldn't be pushing everybody to follow their plans. And so there was an opportunity where like the party had to split up essentially. And like it was sort of perfect because actually that player couldn't be there for the next session. And so it was this opportunity. It's like, here's a great way for your character to go off and help all the NPCs while the rest of the party progresses, since you're not going to be here next week. And it was so hard for them, and they're like, and sometimes I get a little heavy handed where I actually point out, like, you're not going to be here next week. This would be, you even said your character wants to step back more. And they're like, I know, but this is so hard. And so thinking through, those opportunities. And I think specifically for the neurodiverse, especially those on the autism spectrum, one of the big things I try to do, but I need to be even better at, is being more explicit and talking about the neurotypical players can pick up on what the tone of the game is and what things are just by how I'm describing things. But like, I have to be very explicit and say, like, this is, yes, we had some fun and made some silly ideas up, but we're still going to play this like a serious game that just has some silly stuff kind of woven into it. And getting those expectations clear, and it's like, if you feel like you're over explaining, you're probably doing it just right.
Thank you for watching, and of course, thank you, Dr. Megan Connell, for your time and conversation. It was awesome. I've got more videos from that conversation coming up. If you want to see those, make sure and subscribe. If you want to hear that whole conversation right now, you can go to my Patreon. The lowest tier is $2, and that's at patreon.com/ADHDM. And until next time.